What is going on, guys? Rogue TCG here, bringing the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG deck profile you all voted for, and I am very happy to be bringing it to you. Here is Blue Eyes. Now, Blue Eyes has gotten a lot of new support cards in the most recent structure deck, and they are actually pretty damn good. Maiden of White is absolutely insane for the strategy, allowing True Light to actually be playable in the current metagame. Wishes for Eyes of Blue is very, very strong, as well as Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragons. So with all of these new cards, Blue Eyes has reached heights of meta contention that it hasn't seen since about 2016. Because of that, I wanted to try and put a little twist to it. So today I'm bringing to you not just Blue Eyes, but branded Blue Eyes. Now, it's more just Blue Eyes with a very heavy Bystial engine that includes cards like Blazing Cartesia and Branded in High Spirits in order to set up some very cute plays. But that's enough yapping about the overall deck profile. Let's go through the card by card and I'll let you know what this deck can do. Starting off our list, let's talk about our Blue Eyes cards. We're on 2 copies of the Blue-Eyed White Dragon. If you wanted to play 3, if you're scared of Bystials and having these things banished forever, I mean, that's completely valid. I'm just opting to play 2 because I do not want to be seeing it in my opening hand, really. Although with Cartesia, it is not a huge deal. But we're on double Blue-Eyed White Dragon. We're also on triple copies of Sage with Eyes of Blue. On normal, we can add a level 1 Light Tuner from our deck to our hand, except for itself. We can pitch this card, target an effect monster we control, send the effect monster to the graveyard, and if we do, special summon a Blue Eyes monster from our deck, and we can only use that effect of Sage once per turn. Notably, that doesn't only just summon the OG Blue Eyes, it'll summon any Blue Eyes monster. We're not playing any other Blue Eyes monster, but if you were playing another one, it'd be like Jet. Like Jet's a good option. But we are not playing other ones, so the main purpose of this card in the deck is just to be an additional normal summon in order to search our next card, being Maiden of White. This card allows us to send it from our hand or face up field to the graveyard to place a True Light from our hand, deck, or graveyard face up on our spell and trap zone. If we special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon while this card's in our graveyard, we can special summon this card. And when a card or effect is activated that targets this card on the field when this card is targeted for it, or when it's targeted for an attack, we can special summon a Blue Eyes or a level 1 Light Tuner from our graveyard, and each effect of this card is a once per turn. This is also a cool little combo piece that you can use with Sage, just like the OG Maiden and Sage, where you can go Sage, activate effect, targeting the Maiden. Maiden effect will trigger to special summon the Sage you just discarded to the graveyard, and then Sage is going to resolve, popping the Maiden, specialing a Blue Eyes, and then when the Blue Eyes is specialed, since the Maiden is in the graveyard, it'll special summon itself right from the graveyard to our side of the field. But that's just a cute little interaction that we can do. And then, but that's it for our monsters. Let's cover our spells and traps now. We're on triple wishes of the Eyes for Eyes of Blue. Discarding a card, adding a level 1 Light Tuner and 1 spell or trap that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon from our deck to our hand, except for itself. We can banish it from the graveyard and target a Blue Eyes White Dragon we control, equipping a Blue Eyes monster from our extract to as an equip spell that gives it 400 attack. We can use each effect of wishes once per turn. Insane effect. That equip effect is actually a lot more impactful than you might think, since with the effect you equip a Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon to Blue Eyes, then you can immediately fusion summon into Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon. And Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon is just targeting protection from the graveyard. It's very, very strong, so that is the reason why we're playing it. Also, we can't make it. We're not playing 3 Blue Eyes, but if we were playing 3 Blue Eyes, we in theory actually could make it, so that's another cute thing that you could possibly do. But for our other 2 Blue Eyes spells, we're on 1 Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragon, special summoning a Blue Eyes monster from our deck, graveyard, or banishment in defense position. But if we do not control Blue Eyes, we can only special summon the OG Blue Eyes with this effect. We cannot special summon from the extract for the rest of the turn, except for dragons. We can banish this card from our graveyard to fusion summon a fusion monster from our extract using monsters from our hand or field, including a Blue Eyes monster as a material, and we can only use each effect once per turn and only once that turn. For our last spell, we're on 1 copy of Mausoleum of White. During our main phase, we can additional normal summon a level 1 Light Tuner, and we can target a face-up monster we control to send a normal monster from our hand, deck, or deck to the graveyard. And if we do, it gains attack and defense equal to the level times 100, and until the end of the turn, even after this card leaves the field. We can banish it from our graveyard to add 1 Burst Stream of Destruction from our deck to our hand, although we are not playing that dog-ass card. Card's incredible. We search it off with link 1. Main reason we're playing it. We're also on, for our traps, we're on 1 copy of Majesty with Dragons of White. revealing up to 3 blue eyes from our hand, face-up, field, or graveyard, and then popping that many cards our opponent controls, and then it has some ritual effect in the graveyard. Not relevant. This is just here for the multiple pops that are non-targeting, which is very strong. And then lastly, the True Light, that is kind of the crux of the deck with Maiden of White, where this card, while it's face up on the field, your opponent cannot target blue-eyes, white dragons in our monster zone with card effects. If this face-up card is sent from the spell and traps into the graveyard, it pops all of our monsters, kind of like Fire King field spell. And then it has you can activate one of these effects per turn. It has 2 different effects. We can special summon a Blue Eyes from our hand or graveyard, or set a spell and trap from our deck to our field that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon with a different name than the cards we control and in our graveyard. This is the main way we're going to be getting our Wishes for Eyes of Blue. Main way we're getting our Majesty with Dragons of White. Those 2 cards, that's the main way we're getting those. But that's it for our Blue Eyes cards. Now let's cover our branded engine, I guess. We're on double copies of Blazing Cartesia the Virtuous. If you control Albaz or it's in our graveyard, we can special summon it from our hand. Never going to happen. During the main phase, quick effect, we can fusion summon 1 level 8 or higher fusion monster from our extra deck using monsters from our hand or field as material. During the end phase of a fusion monster was set to our graveyard this turn, we can add it from our graveyard back to our hand. We can use each effect of Blazing Cartesia once per turn. Very powerful card. The main idea for this is we're going to be fusion summoning using bricks in our hand like our Blue Eyes White Dragon or extra copies of Sage and such in order to fuse into Gronguignol, the Dusk Dragon. If we do it that way, we're going to use the effect to either send 1 of 2 cards, either the Bystial or Albion the Branded Dragon, from our deck to the graveyard in order to either access the Lubellion stuff with the Bystials or access the straight up branded stuff with the Albion. Another way we can get that Albion in graveyard is with Branded and High Spirits. Revealing a monster from our hand, setting 1 level 8 or higher fusion monster from our, 1 level 8 fusion monster from our extract to the graveyard of the same type that has 2500 attack or defense. Then apply the effect. We can discard the monster that we revealed and then add a monster that mentions Fallen of Albaz from our deck to our hand. Or during the end phase, if a fusion monster was sent to our graveyard and this card's in our graveyard, except for the turn that we activated the actual effect of this card, we can add it back to our hand. So what does this actually do? So what this does is we can reveal a Blue Eyes White Dragon or any Bystial in our hand in order to send an Albion the Branded Dragon from our extract to the graveyard in order to search Blazing Cartesia. Does that mean we have to normal summon the Blazing Cartesia? Absolutely not. We don't have to normal it. It can be a backup plan for all that we care about. The main thing is Albion the Branded Dragon is now in the graveyard. With Albion in the graveyard, during the end phase, we can search a branded spell or trap and set it straight to our field. There are 2 good options that are in this deck right now. There's either Branded Beast if we have more Bystials than we know what we can do with, or we have Etude of the Branded, a continuous trap card that is pretty damn decent in this deck specifically. This card reads, during either player's turn, you can immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon 1 synchro monster using monsters you control as material, including a dragon monster. You can use this effect of Etude of the Branded once per turn. While you control a Bystial monster, banish any monster that would be sent to your opponent's graveyard as tributes for their ritual summons or as materials for their fusion, synchros, or link summons. So it's also a macrocosmos for just our opponent, so it's more like a Dark Law. It's a Dark Law if we have a Bystial on our side of the board, which is really good into this meta. Like if they're going to be making any links into the Malice cards, their Malices are just going to get straight up banished, and guess what? They're going to be able to trigger them all. That's awful for them, you know? But regardless, jokes aside, against some decks, especially rogue decks, this card is really going to clean their clock. So this is kind of your pick if you want to have it in the deck. I think it's really cute and I like it a lot, so that's why I'm picking it. I also really like that quick synchro effect because it really works with our True Light, because in theory, during our opponent's turn, if we don't want to set a spell or trap, we can special summon a Blue Eyes from a hand or graveyard. When we summon that Blue Eyes at point of resolution, our Maiden is going to trigger to special summon itself, and guess what? We have a dragon, and we have a tuner. And then we can use the Etude of the Branded to immediately after the effect resolves, synchro summoning, and we can make a level 9 synchro during our opponent's turn, which is incredibly strong. So that's kind of the idea behind that concept. We can also use Branded and High Spears to send a spellcaster from our hand to the graveyard, like Valor, Sage, or Maiden, in order to send a Gronguignol from our extract to the graveyard, because it is a spellcaster, in order to search a Blazing Cartesia. If we do that line, this card reads, if it's in our field or in our graveyard, our opponent activates a monster effect that special summons a monster at point of resolution, we can banish this from either our graveyard or our face-up field, in order to special summon a Despia monster from our extra deck or a Dogmatica from our main deck. Now, that's incredibly strong for getting a Despia right out of our extra deck. And what's the main card that triggers this that people are going to be using against Blue Eyes? There's two big answers. It's Bystials and it's Nibiru. Both of those cards are monster effects that activate to special summon a monster to their side of the field. When that resolves, we can go yugioh. Even if we get interrupted with the Bystial or Nibiru, if this is in the graveyard, you're able to summon Despia and Lulu with Lilith straight out of our extra deck and at least have something. And if this card gets removed, Despia and Lulu with Lilith that is, during the end phase, we can special summon one light spellcaster from our hand or deck whose attack equals its own defense. Now, can you think of any spellcasters that have any attack that equals their own defense? Like, let's say 0/0. Can you name any of them? Or let's say 15/15. Like, we have a handful of things that actually meet that requirement. So Despia and Lulu with Lilith is very powerful in this deck. But that's enough talking about the Brandon High Spirit stuff. I really enjoy this little mini sub engine. I think it promotes a lot of intriguing thought into deck building, and that's why I wanted to bring it here today, because a lot of the Blue Eyes decks that I've seen don't really inspire any thought. It's just Blue Eyes with Primite, or Blue Eyes with Fiendsmith, and then 20 hand traps. And we are playing quite a number of hand traps in this list, but I want to add a little bit of spice to it. So with our hand traps and our other piece of engine, we're on Bystials, we're on double Lubellion, one Magnemite, double Jerusalem, and one Baldric. We are a light deck, so we are going to have lights on our side of the field so we can banish our opponent's extra deck monsters, namely things like Ryziel or Ryziel Deadnamer. And then to pair with our Bystials, we're also on the Branded Regained, Branded Beast, and of course what I mentioned previously, the Etude of the Branded. Branded Regain is very powerful in this meta right now because it does kind of shit all over Malice, so keep that in mind if you wanted to, get some easy wins against Malice. Regained is definitely one of the ways that you can do it. And then for our non-engine, we're on one copy of Called by the Grave, triple copies of Effect Veiler. This is a card that can be searched with Sage. This is a card that can be searched with Sage of Eyes of Blue. We're also on triple Ash Blossom for Fool Ross and because Ash is a good hand trap. Triple Infinite Impermanence, and one copy of Nibiru. If you wanted to play cross out, that's what the one Nibiru is in here for. Otherwise, you can, alter the ratios of hand traps however you see fit. Hand traps are dependent on your local metagame regardless. But that's it for our main deck. Now let us cover our extra. We're on one copy of Spirit with Eyes of Blue. On Link Summon, we are able to add a Mausoleum from our deck and to our hand, or we can send it to the graveyard. We don't have to bring it to hand, really. And we contribute this card to special summon a Blue Eyes monster from our hand or graveyard. But if we special summon an effect monster from the graveyard, it cannot attack and its effects are negated. We're on one Heretic Spheres, which is just the best end board for Dragon Link. We're on the Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. We're never summoning it, it just protects our monsters in the graveyard. One copy of Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon. This card is pretty interesting. It must either be fusion summoned or special summoned from our extra deck by attributing a Blue Eyes White Dragon equipped with a fusion monster. How are we ever gonna do that, And it reads, unaffected by trap cards or effects, can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. Once per turn, at the end of the damage step, if this card battles, you can target a trap in your graveyard and set it. That is any trap, not just Blue Eyes trap, so we can set stuff like Infinite Impermanence. But that's it for our Fusion Summon monsters that are Blue Eyes specific. Now let's talk about our Synchros. We are on two copies of Spirit Dragon. Neither player can special summon two or more monsters at the same time. It's a Pendulum Floodgate. Once per turn, when an effect of a card in the graveyard is activated, quick effect, we can negate the activation, just straight up negate it. And quick effect, we contribute the Synchro Summon card, special summon one Light Dragon Synchro monster from our extra deck in defense position, except for Spirit Dragon, but destroy it during the end phase of this turn. We're playing two Spirit Dragons because we are planning on doing it multiple times, and we can even set up two during the same turn, and none of the effects are once per turn, so, we can do with it as we please. And one of the Light Dragon monsters, Light Dragon Synchro monsters that we can special summon from our extra deck is the new one, Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon. We're never really going to be summoning this with its actual summoning condition. We're mostly going to be cheating this out with Spirit Dragon. And this card reads, your opponents cannot banish cards from your graveyard. Very strange line of text. I wonder why that is. With Malice in the format, wanting to banish 3 from your graveyard, and with Bystials running rampant, very strange for Blue Eyes to only be relevant when it's completely countering the decks that are currently topping, or the strategies that are currently topping. That's never been done before. And once per turn when a card or effect is activated on the field, quick effect, you can negate the activation, and if you, this card gains 1,000 attack until the end of the turn. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon one Light Dragon monster from your graveyard except for itself. This effect does include the destruction that Blue-Eye Spirit Dragon will do at the end of the turn, so it's a cool way to just get your Spirit Dragon back on board, even though it will not be able to special summon another Synchro out of your extra deck. It'll only just have the negate. We're on one copy of Crimson Dragon. It is a light dragon synchro monster, so it is a target for Spirit Dragon, and with a target for Crimson Dragon being Cosmic Blazar Dragon exactly. You might think Despia Lulu Lilith might be a target, however, Crimson Dragon can only grab dragons as well, so we're not really allowed to do that. However, we have other ways to bring out the Despia Lulu Lilith other than Crimson Dragon, theoretically. And then lastly, in the extra run, 2 copies of yugioh and 1 copy of Albion the Branded Dragon. Albion's main purpose here is just to be sending a Tude of the Branded and to be a fusion monster that was sent to the graveyard. So if we did go like Branded High Spirits, pitch Cartesia, send yugioh, and do it that way, we are able to add the Cartesia back to our hand. But that's me about it for the deck profile. I'm going to be doing 1 test game for you all, whether I win or lose. So that's going to be immediately after this little like spiel. But if you didn't want to watch that, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you all later. And for those of you who did want to watch it, let me show you that game right now. I don't mean to interrupt the video, but I do just want to give you all guys a heads up. We are quickly rising in our subscriber number, and I did want to make you all aware that once we hit 2,000 subscribers, I am going to be doing another giveaway. Now, I remember I did one once we hit 500 subscribers, and we did a special thing for 1,000, so I want to do something special for 2,000. And you see this beautiful mat right here? Well, it can be yours. I have 2 extra mats. There's one of them. And let me get that second one for y'all. I have 2 extra pristine mats for you all. So I got multiple of these. And to 2 lucky winners, I'm going to be giving 1 to one person and 1 to another. And the person who wins the overall giveaway is also going to get a full Orcust deck. I can't guarantee it's going to be max rarity, but I'm going to see what I can do. And I'm going to try and make it look nice and pretty for you. It's not going to be the full deck. It's just going to be the core Orcust cards. But I want to be able to give you one of you all the ability to play one of my favorite decks. So just something I'm doing for you. You can always pop into our Discord. I believe that's where I'm going to be doing the giveaway. The Discord's always going to be in the description of my videos. I'm going to have a little bit more details once we start rolling up on that, but I just wanted to make you all aware of that. Now, back to the video. Alrighty, so this is going to be the game that we're going to be watching. This is going to be our deck against Gimmick Puppet Horus. We are going first in this game, and let's see what we're able to accomplish with a hand of Mausoleum, Ash, Sage, Veiler, and Cartesia. We're going to start off. We are going to go normal summon Cartesia, activate Mausoleum, use the additional normal summon for our Sage, go Sage in order to add our Maiden. And then here we are going to be able to perform a effect to send our Blue-Eyes White Dragon. We're going to go Maiden to set our True Light. And we're going to go Cartesia in order to make our yugioh the Dusk Dragon. We're going to go the effect in order to send an Albion. We're going to go True Light in order to set a spell. Here we are going to be activating that spell. We're going to pitch our Veiler in order to add another Veiler and Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragons. We're going to go Roar in order to summon out a Blue-Eyes. Then we're going to go Maiden in order to summon itself out. Here we're going to get Nibiru. That is perfectly fine. One note, we are locked out of the extra deck from Dragons because of Roar, so we cannot go yugioh at this junction. However, we do still get to have it loaded up for next turn. We get a Nibiru token, and we're just going to pass. We're going to go Albion effect at end step to set a Tude of the Branded, and Cartesia is going to add itself back to our hand, and it's going to be our opponent's turn. They're going to go set rotation. We're going to immediately go Tude, and then immediately go True Light. We're going to get Blue-Eyes out. They're going to get their Gimmick Puppet field spell, and setting to our field the Horus field spell. Now we're going to be able to go Maiden of White, and then we're going to be able to go Tude of the Branded in order to make a Shen Shen. In theory, Shen Shen is quite good against Gimmick Puppet since they need their cards in graveyard. However, our opponent is going to try their absolute best to get around it, so let's see what they're able to do. Standby in main, they're going to go Gimmick Puppet field spell. We're going to Ash Blossom that. They're going to go Little Soldiers. We can't interact with this because of the field spell. They're going to go Bisque Doll, and then they're going to go Rogue Doll in order to summon itself and Cow Scream. We're going to be able to go yugioh here in order to summon Lulu Lilith. They're going to go Giant Grinder to try and out our Shen Shen. We're going to go Lulu here. Now, here is our misplay. Lulu should have targeted the Giant Grinder Here I targeted the mansion under the impression that I would be able to stop the gimmick puppet. However, because they activated Bystial, I cannot target gimmick puppets they control this turn with card effects. So here's my misplay. I should have done Lulu on Giant Grinder and ignored the field spell. However, I did not. So here they're going to go Giant Grinder in order to pop Shen Shen. Here's where I Veiler and I realized my mistake because I did not read the Bystial until after the fact. So I have to target the Nibiru. They're going to be able to pop the Shen Shen. And from this point here, we are just kind of screwed. I end up surrendering there. But you do understand the concept of the deck. Even though we did lose, we were able to put up a fight. But that's gonna be about it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching, if you still are. Thank you to my one member. Thank you, Ari. If you want to become a member, stay tuned to the end of the video. But that's gonna be about it for me. Thank you again once more for watching, and I'll be seeing you all later. Bye-bye. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you wanted to talk to more Yu-Gi-Oh players like yourself, I would highly recommend checking out our Discord server. Link is going to be in the description, as well as the QR code on screen. We do talk somewhat frequently about Yu-Gi-Oh and the current meta, so I would really enjoy to see you there. As well as we do recently now have channel memberships available on our YouTube channel, where we have 3 different tiers. We have Super Supporter at $2 a month, where you get loyalty badges, emojis, guaranteed comment responses, a shout out at the end of every video, as well as access to the members only Discord channel, where you get early sneak peeks at future videos. There is the Giga Supporter at $5 a month, where you have early access to all new videos about a day or two before they go up, as well as all the previous offers. And for $15 a month, we do have our final tier, which is going to be Femboy Fanatic. You get a guaranteed customized video every single month, as well as 1 hour of my time. Could be for anything you'd like. You want a duel? Absolutely. You want me to help build a deck? Absolutely. You want to play some Helldivers? Sure. I'll do anything for an hour once a month. But supporting does help me out quite a lot, and it does help me produce all of these videos. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll be seeing y'all later. Bye-bye.